groundbreaking event for the much long-awaited maternal shelter here in Katima Mulilo. Less than 2 weeks ago, I was invited to Oshakati Hospital to receive donations for neonatal equipment and nutritional supplements in the seven regions in the central and northern part of Namibia. This donation was millions, worth millions, donated by the Japanese ambassador, together with UNICEF, for the reduction of maternal, neonatal and infant mortality under the auspices of the Ministry of Health and Social Services, and especially the premature babies, which are making up more than 50% of our infants or anyone under the age of 5 dying before seeing his or her 5th anniversary. That was 2 weeks ago. 3 days ago, I was in Umsati at the invitation of Umsati Etai constituency members to celebrate with them the 7th anniversary of the Human Rights Declaration. As we all know, ladies and gentlemen, there are 30 articles under that declaration. But I dare not bore you. And even during my address, I only cited 9 out of 30. Today, I am only citing 1, and that is Article 3 of the Human Rights Declaration, which states, and I quote, everyone has from birth to death a right to life. But I want to associate that declaration with the Declaration on Health, which says that human health is a fundamental human right, not a commercial commodity to be afforded to those who can afford. Basically, this is what universal health coverage is about. That no one should suffer any consequences, catastrophic financial consequences, because such person is in search of health. And this cut across the board, whether it's now antenatal care, whether it's now delivery, or any other aspect of health. This is what we're promoting. Pregnant mothers and their new babies have the right to access quality health care. They have the right to deliver in a health care facility not far from where they live. It's their right, not a privilege. It's the right of all of us here, not a privilege. And this must come, as I say, without them having to sell their cattle, or sell their goats, or sell their houses, or whatever belongings they have in order for them to pay for the services, for health services. That is what we're promoting. And talking of universal health coverage, the first mandate of universal health coverage was given to the Social Security Commission by cabinet decision. And we're still working with them to make it a reality, because we believe that only universal health coverage will take us out of this quagmire, out of this misery, out of this poverty-driven situation, as far as the health sector is concerned. We believe only through that shall we truly reduce maternal mortality in Namibia, and infant and neonatal mortality. So as you can see, I've been running up and down, and for the simple reason, and that's to ensure that we deliver on our mandate, to ensure that mothers no more died because of pregnancy-related issues. Child or children live up to their 5th birthday and beyond, like all of us here. It's a right, not a privilege. I've already mentioned it's very, very disheartening that prematurity, which is related to a lot of social sectors, including poor nutrition, is still a leading cause of those that are dying under the age of 5. So today we are here, ladies and gentlemen, in Katima Mulilo for this very important groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of shelter for expecting mothers in Zambezi region, a first of its kind in the region. Well, we were supposed to, not groundbreaking here, we were supposed to inaugurate the first maternal shelter, as Honorable Governor Sampofu referred to this structure on our left-hand side here. So I want to repeat what the governor has said. As far as companies that are given tenders, and hopefully mothers will make a difference, or ladies will make a difference, because too many companies are given construction tenders, but they do not deliver. I can cite a whole lot of them. They don't deliver, and I always ask, what is that happens to those who don't deliver? The governor mentioned here how money is being wasted. Yes, we're wasting money. But what are we doing to those who spend money recklessly? I think time has come that we act decisively against those who are given work to do, and they're not necessarily the only one. There are many others who can do the same work, but they end up not completing the work, and the Ministry of Health is the most victim of all these irresponsibilities. You know, I'm not saying that all the contractors are bad, or only them sometimes we apparently don't pay them on time, etc. But we have Rundu Maternity standing, which was supposed to be completed in 2016. I was actually talking to the PS yesterday that could you not engage the Social Security Commission, that instead of spending the 10 million for maternal shelter in Rundu, we perhaps take part of that money to complete Rundu Maternity, because now we are in a financial crisis. Too late now, I guess. But we need to put these mothers there in the maternal ward in Rundu. Here as well, this region is growing. Luckily, the maternal ward has just been renovated recently, but we will need more as we go. So our struggle will not end at construction of a shelter or 2 or 3 there. It will have to go beyond that in order to realize our dream. I sincerely want to thank the Social Security Commission, Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation, for hearing our pleas and the cries of thousands of Namibian mothers and young women, especially those in remote areas who find it difficult and many a time practically impossible to access healthcare services that you and I understand easily take for granted. I want to thank them sincerely, and maybe we can applaud them. The lack of access to antenatal care, quality delivery, and all that is related to a birth of a baby is in large part the reason why our national maternal and neonatal mortality or infant mortality rate remain at an unacceptable level of 385 per 100,000 and 20 per 1,000 respectively. We need to do more than that. We need to do more to bring these figures down. With deaths due to complications during delivery and due to prematurity playing the leading role in all this death, infant mortality. It is now well known, ladies and gentlemen, that death due to prematurity result from many factors, among them antenatal attendance or delivery outside the health facility. And I would like to add the poor planning of family and the lack of knowledge by those that ultimately get pregnant. Many social and economic factors make it so difficult for an expectant mothers in a rural area to access necessary health care services in Namibia. And that is what we're busy addressing here. Among these factors are issues such as transport, lack of money to pay for transport, or sometimes just the attitude of our staff at the health facility. It's a repellent attitude to the pregnant and other mothers. Too many a time I'm getting SMSs, getting phone calls from across the country. Your staff in this hospital are bad. Even yesterday in the media, when I was coming here, I read an article about Lutheran's Hospital. Every single day, there is something on public health, public or community member complaining. You know, I was telling the staff the day before yesterday that I could almost not believe when I was paging through the SMS page of the Namibian newspaper. I looked and I looked and I couldn't believe it that the Ministry of Health was not there for the day. Every day, complaining. So, once again, from the very outset, or middle of my speech now, thanks, because 10 million is not a small amount under any condition, whether now the current economic condition or just any other condition of the economy. So thank you very much for making this 10 million available to build this very, very important shelter. And we've heard of Rundu and Otapi. In fact, I am pleased to see that Otapi maternal shelter is fully functioning. Opuo maternal shelter is fully functioning. Enana, the same. Okongo, the same. Engela, all of these are fully functioning. And I have to thank the former First Lady because she spearheaded this campaign to make sure that these shelters are. Interestingly, at Enana and Okongo, they're not just sitting there and waiting for the labor pain to come. They are engaged in some small income generation activities, like weaving, which is interesting. So I want to encourage those that are coming in here, and I'm told there will be 80 of them for the beginning. Maybe there will be more later. They must not just come and sit. They must do something that help generating some small income. They can have a small library. Konjeni, where are you? Can you put a library in the corner there in your building? They learn as well, because we know knowledge is power. And I hope they will be having access to internet, where they can access the WHO website and learn how to deal with pregnancy, how to avoid complication. And not only for themselves, they will pass the knowledge to the community. So I value partnership, such as demonstrated here today by the Social Security Commission and the Ministry of Labor, Madam Penapu People Pohamba, and others, including the local and regional leadership here in the Zambezi region. It is partnership, ladies and gentlemen, that will take it far beyond, not individual actions. So we need to build those bridges to address the issue of health. Not only health, any other developmental issues. We need to do it in partnership. Not to exclude the private sector. You know, people sometimes believe that we can do things on our own. We can't. We have to work with the private sector. I just want to give an example. Why is it important? Before I come here yesterday, I requested through the Office of PS for Ms. Mulema to give me the snapshot of the latest issues as far as health is concerned. And in fact, all the issues that are highlighted are revolving around two main problems. One is human resources, wherever you go. I was in Marienthal and Maltahe just about 3 weeks ago before I went to Usara. Same problem in Marienthal Hospital. Same problem at Maltahe, which is 100 kilometers from Marienthal. No doctor there. They have a health center with about 9,000 people. Same problem at Oshakati, even in Vindu. Even in Vindu, The team that is in charge of the cardiac unit in Bendu are desperate because about 3 or 4 doctors will be leaving in January, and we don't have replacement. We are actually shivering. Don't look at us looking so calm. We're not calm. We are in sort of serious shivering. Everywhere we have human resource issues. And it's a kind of a paradox, actually, because we're having trained community health workers, about 600 of them, plus. We have trained pharmacy assistants, and they are actually now marching to our office, demanding for employment. Meanwhile, we actually need human resources. Can you see the paradox? It's like dying of thirst while you are in the middle of the river or at sea. This is the dichotomy that we are facing now. The second problem, from which much of our problem in the health sector are emanating, is the issue of financing. We owe a lot of people money which we couldn't pay. That's why we couldn't build a structure like that on our own. Whether it's blood transfusion, I get message from the head, it's Christmas time and we need payment. Whether it's NIP, we owe them money, and I have said this. Whether it's just small suppliers, and please, the contractor, be prepared to stretch your time before you claim from us, because we may not have immediate money for those things that we need to put. The 10 million hopefully will cover a lot of stuff. So we're not in denial about the financial state of the ministry. And that's why I emphasize partnership. And partnership, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just a matter of donating like Social Security is doing today. It's investment in the future with return that are guaranteed. The data are there. WHO made a study that showed that $1 that you invest in health is 16 return in a given time. So we're not expenditure dependent sector. We are also an investment sector, just like other sectors. So that's the reality. Now, how do we address the issue of human resources? And how do we address finance? Of course, we're not the Ministry of Finance. That's why we rely on partnership like that. But one other thing that we have done as a ministry, and I'm glad to announce that the Secretary to Cabinet has approved 341 funded posts for the ministry. So we're now going to employ nurses, we're going to employ a few doctors, etc., etc. And we're looking at more. Maybe we will go to 600 or 700. It just depends. Finances will depend on partnership, as I say, but we also proposed an increase in our budget for 2019-2020. And we hope that will be approved. We are looking at something like 8.9 billion. Sorry if I disclose too early, but I'm an open guy, so this is public issues. We don't have to keep it secret. Hopefully, if we get these funds, then we will be able to employ as many people as we need. But I also said we need to be more efficient in the utilization of these funds. These are taxpayers' money, which we must guard against wasting them. And the culprit needs to be punished, of course, through the legal approach. So, staffing, finance, Ms. Mulima also told me, the issue of airlifting patients from Katima to Vindu, which I have said since 2015 or 16 something. I have written to my colleague responsible for the sector, where the aircraft of the state fall. The PS and management have been engaging the concerned PS. But we are told, no, the aircraft is not yet converted to an air ambulance. I don't understand. I don't understand. When my father was sick in 2011, I was a GP in private practice in Bendu. And obviously I had to bring him to Vindu because I could afford it. And this is the catastrophe I was referring to. You don't have money, your family cannot come to treat. Air Namibia refused to take my father because he was moribund, as you call it. He couldn't sit. I heard the Learjet Of course, I borrowed money to pay for my father. My father came with the Leagen, and I have the pictures. He was on a stretcher and came to Windhoek. I paid the money. Which conversion are we talking about now? I don't understand. That's why I'm saying I don't understand. Even members of the executive, without pointing it, when we crash or get sick wherever we are airlifted. Why can Meme Martha, who's in obstructed labor or having a dying baby here in Katima, go on the same plane to Windhoek? Why can it not happen? Please explain to me. Then we are practicing differential rights. Remember, I referred to Article 3 of the Fundamental Human Right, and that health is a right, not a privilege. Well, then it must be clear that Haufiku, who's a minister, can be airlifted to Windhoek. But Simasiku, who's a cleaner here, can wait. Is that what we say? So there is a lot for us to do, and not just from the state, even the private sector. You know, last time I was here in July, there was a private jet park there. So I said, oh, are these the tourists? He said, no, it's a local business person. There is somebody who owns a plane here in Katima. Can we put fuel in your plane set and start airlifting our patient to Windhoek, those who need to be? This is the partnership that I'm referring to. Why am I talking about airlifting? Because we can build as much shelter as we can. There will be complication that requires tertiary care at the level of Windhoek Central Hospital. Until such time that we have fully converted this hospital here, not in just a regional hospital, but something even beyond, with full ICU, full specialized care, then we can say no one must be flown from Katima to Windhoek. But at the moment, the urgent need is there for airlifting patients from Katima to Windhoek. You have to be in a situation of this, maybe somebody, to appreciate what I'm saying. Doctors, I don't know, I'm sure Dr. Kabidik is here. They see it every day in the hospital. We have lost life here on the way to Rundu. On the way to Rundu. Because the shelter we are building is to make sure that the mother is near a health facility, but doesn't guarantee that there will be no complications that require tertiary care. It doesn't. We still have to do that. So my plea is that we look into that. I also had a meeting yesterday with the regional council and Honorable Sampo. And it's my tradition, I can't come here without meeting the political leadership who are governing the region. This is not a health region, it's a political region governed by electorate. Issues came up that directly speak to primary healthcare strengthening and community-based services. When you talk about primary healthcare, we're talking about clinics. And they are listed. Don't have to go through them. Malengalenga, Imukusi, Numfo, all of them have got problems. And the councillor from Kape constituency kindly requested that Shokmansberg also please need a maternal shelter. So the job is not done. This is just one or two steps when we open here. We need more. And it's a challenge. The residents of one of the village, I forgot, but they travel to go to Sambali Health Center. They pass through wild animals and they risk being maimed by wild animals. We need to do something about that as well. So can you see the ramification? It's not all one done when we open this. But also, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I heard also something that's a little bit disturbing, that the sewage in town is flowing back, not only to the hospital, but to other facilities. I hope not the offices of the government. Is there no plumber in town who can sort out these things tomorrow or yesterday? Sewage, the pipe that is already there. It's a matter of putting that wire and unblock. But we have been beaten by, I get it in my report that the sewage is not working. No plumber in Katima, whether in private sector. So next year when I come and visit here after this completion of the shelter, I will hear that the sewage is not working. That's another problem. So let's take responsibility of our facility and state facilities. That's the message I want to try. In a collective manner. So I want to call upon all our leaders, from myself, my colleague in cabinet, governor, councillors, head of hospital, all of us must work together to make sure that we deliver a service to our people. That's why we are elected in this position. And I wish the contractor, the principal agents, everybody involved, technical people, in the construction of this maternal shelter, let it not look like the other one. And even that one, if it can be salvaged, let's look for that. So that I will be here in February, it's agreed already, that I will make a turn here to see progress on the construction. And all the best. Lastly, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, which is coming up, and a happy 2019. Thank you.